So we got some last minute things to button up. I got another new part in. Oh, this is the transmission mount. I got some split loom just to kind of finish up my wiring there and make it look pretty. We've got to finish hooking up the ignition and starter wires through the firewall. I'm going to actually make it work with the key. I've tested this. Oh, let's show you what else we did here. Still got to fix this door handle. Maybe you guys at No Name Nationals can help me. Got the seat in. Got the shifter in. And down here, we got the pedal in. Let's see if I can light it up. All right, so we got brake pedal. We need to adjust it out a little bit, but it's in. We just need to bleed the brakes. And then we've got the new drive-by-wire hookup up here. Let's see if you can see that. That's all drive-by-wire. And this is the original pedal. And thanks to Todd at Flat Tires and Misfires, I have a new piece here which holds the base of the pedal because mine was rotted through, so I've got a new patch panel in there. And then I modified the original 2005 Suburban drive-by-wire pedal because it stuck out way over here. I modified it with the original linkage for the gas pedal for the car, so it doesn't have a lot of throw, so you go full throttle pretty quick. I'm gonna get the original ignition key that we found under the hood of the car. I'm gonna get that all wired up. We got our air ride gauges. These are dual needle gauges. So these are my front air ride. I went old school on the lettering here. So this will be my front, left, front, right. This gauge will be both of my rear airbags. This will be the rear left, rear right. Here's my main air tank. So I'll know what the pressure is in that. Then I'll know what the pressures are on my individual bags. And then I have all four corner control. Eventually, I'm also going to put in a one button up and one button down so that I can just completely raise it up and completely lower it with one button. I have no idea if any of the factory stuff will be working by No Name. I do have this amazing original speedometer, found out because it has this little extra needle here. That's worth a lot of money. Plus, look at that mileage. Lights on, but 45,967, so 46,000 original miles. If it hadn't sat, it'd be in great shape. Now this little Chinesium piece here, we're going to end up sticking it down, but this will tie directly into an OBD2 port and should give me a lot of my engine readings for the LS. Don't know if it works. I've not even tested it even in my truck, which I should have, but we're going to test it in the car, so I do have to run the OBD2 port in. Finishing up out back, we're adding our KYB XLG shocks. I got to make some adjustments to make them fit, but we want to get this air ride completely lowered to make sure we're not bottoming out our shock. And then of course we want to make sure we have enough travel that we can raise the car up without ripping the shocks out. And one big daunting task we have yet to do. We have no fuel tank and no floor. We're also adding a battery box back here. A battery box handmade by Perpetual Projects and sent to me at no cost. So I want to just say thank you to those guys. This is a beautiful piece, and when I get it installed, we're going to go through and kind of take a look at it. Why they're not just selling them, I don't know, because it's a very, very well-built box. So with that, again, unsure if we're going to have this ready for No Name, but I'd like to get the seats back in here. I've got some sound deadening stuff I'd like to put in here. Hopefully I can get it done this week. And bolt the console, which I kind of cleaned up. This was covered in all kinds of animal, let's just say it was their bathroom, let's just say that. But I got the original console back together. It's cleaned up. Got the little shifter cover back. I got the original 63 Grand Prix shifter. Hopefully it'll give me all of my gears on my TH350. But we're going to use that for now. If I have to change it later, I will. But I really wanted to keep that look of that console, and I didn't want to try to modify it or mess with it at all. So that's going to hopefully hook up just fine. Either I'm going to make some linkage, or I did buy this B&M racing and performance cable. I will say this, they did not include a sticker. I bought 2 things from B&M and none of them gave me a sticker. Dang it. All right. So with that, the one big piece we're missing is we have no drive shaft. That was the one piece I thought, well, I'll make it work. I pulled the one out of the Trans Am. Yeah, it's too short. So I still have the Suburban. It should still be a 27 spline into the back of the TH350. And hopefully it's long enough that we can reach our rear end back here. And hopefully I can figure out the U-joints to make sure everything matches up. Over here, our transmission mount was rusted out and wouldn't support anything, so I made this. Probably the sturdiest piece on the entire car. I'm very proud of this piece. And I'll have that bolted in today. I'll have my rear transmission mount. It's a rubber mount. Put that in. Finish with some exhaust and some O2 sensors. And then I think we're ready to see if this car will take off. But again, waiting on the mail. Getting the trailer prepped and ready. So I've been waiting all day for the mail to come because I'm one part short to making this LS fire. Let's see if it showed up. Got the newspaper, the sale ads. What is this? 154 hours left. Thanks, John Wilburn. So I've been testing my power at the coils, at the injectors, I'm not getting consistent, appropriate readings. So I'm going to disassemble all of what I did and start running down to see if I've got a wire that's bad or a ground that's not put where it should be. I haven't tried to fire it, but I need to make sure I've got power to all these things for no other reason than to just make sure it's going to fire when we do the live. So, you know, failure's part of YouTube, that's fine. But if we can set ourselves up for success, then it'll make for a lot better content to watch. So we're a week away from No Name Nationals. The car is still up on jack stands, tires are off, still doing some final work to get it ready. But as excited as I am, even wearing my AHRA t-shirt, I'm just waiting on the mail truck. Well, it's a new day. Got my AHRA shirt on. I've been wrenching away on the car all day. Maybe today's the day, but I get my part in the mail. Let's see. Mail hasn't been here yet, but apparently John Wilburn has. 144 hours. We'll come back in a little bit.
3 hours later.
So it's been a long day. Been wrenching all day long, trying to get this car ready. Mail truck came and went. I didn't even see it, so we're gonna see if they dropped off my parts. All right, guys, I got my parts, so I'm going back to the car and get it finished up. All right, parts are in. I've been thrashing for the last several days, and all I can tell you is I promised you I'd go live for the first start on this car. But before I do, I'm gonna go check the mail. Got an Amazon package. $130 hours left. John, I didn't know you worked for Amazon. Let's go start this car. So this bundle of wires has been giving me trouble throughout the last several days. I've been chasing down issues. The donor Suburban that I got this engine from had some infestation just like the car did. So I felt like they should be right at home together because they both had some small animals live in them. But with that comes some chewed up wiring and other issues. So if you've watched my first video for Buff's Garage, you'll know that we had a lot of problems getting this engine to fire and stay running in the Suburban. And one of the issues I thought it was is the security system. So I sent off the original PCM, which is over here, to lt1swap.com, and he was able to take that out of the programming for this vehicle. So in theory, if that was the issue, this will now run and drive. Oh, let's find out. It fired. put fuel to it again. Okay. Turn the noisy pump on. So this is exactly what it did before when it was in the Suburban. We thought it was the security. Unfortunately, I have a feeling that we have a bad crankshaft position sensor. Where are we at? We've checked. We've got this pulse that's working. I need a real fuel system, which I will have by Tuesday. I've got all the nice fancy AN fittings. You guys can see those. I've got a big, massive fuel cell. It's sitting right next to this awesome custom-made battery box. Thank you guys at Perpetual.
You're welcome.
All I have to do is finish running my hard line. And the same with the brakes. Everything's there. I just need to finish hooking them up and bleed it. But I want to hear it run more than it just did.
So I called a buddy of mine that has a little more LS knowledge than I've got. And he is basically saying the same thing everybody else is. It's got to be the VATS thing. He said apparently, possibly there's 2 places in the computer where it can be deleted, and sometimes one of them gets forgot, possibly. Right. I don't know anything about LSs. I've never even touched one. So
that's how I understood it too. And I've specifically had that conversation with the guy. Again, not saying he didn't, maybe miss something, but he does thousands of these. For him to miss it would be highly unlikely. But it doesn't. I mean, we're all human, right? Maybe he may. But his solution will be send it back to me and I'll get it back. Well, I don't have time for that.
Yeah, that's not
well. And Punisher will hook me up, and White Trash Motorsports has been super helpful too. He's bringing one that is already programmed under his account, so he can actually live change things at No Name. So regardless, this will run and drive at No Name, awesome. Assuming the transmission works.
What I was going to say, Buff, is if you had the OBD2 port in, you could hook your
scan tool.
Well, no, not your scan tool, your programmer to it, and they should be able to do a remote tune on it.
Yes, I'll have all of that done. In fact, I'm hooking the OBD2 port, like I've got the wire right there. So I've got to hook power and ground and this, and I'll have my OBD2 port up and running. He even gave me an extra one, which is how I know this guy did a good job. So for trucks, they have a tow haul mode, and what it does is it changes the engine parameters, and if you have an electronic transmission, it changes shift parameters. But when you do an LS swap, most of the time that's not enabled. Well, for me, I can actually hook this to a button and turn that on, and it'll change the way the engine performs under load. So I feel like he went the extra step on some things. So I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Sure. I would really focus on getting the OBT2 hooked up. That way you can plug into it with your HP, because you talk to him tomorrow.
I don't have it. It'll be.
Oh, you don't have HP tuners?
No, I couldn't get it. They didn't have the device. So you have to buy a device that goes from your laptop to the OBD2 port. And they didn't have anything to sell until after October. It's actually October 14th.
I'm with you now. Okay.
Yeah. But White Trash Motorsports has one, and he's bringing it with his laptop.
Gotcha.
So it continues to run on starting fluid.
Okay, so you're not shutting it down. Mass airflow sensor.
It's not even hooked up.
Well, you need that.
It has to be hooked up.
If he didn't write it as a speed density tune, yeah.
Let me go get it. It's in the truck still.
Yeah. Because you need. It's fine. These things are complicated. I had to figure mine out before anybody done this stuff.
I don't know what that would be. It says lost communication with it. So, do I have something I'm missing?
Okay, we'll walk through that. Okay, there should be one harness that comes from your TAC module. That's that little black box that plugs into your pedal. And then the other harness comes out and plugs into the ECM. Okay.
And then that's plugged into the pedal. And when I push the pedal, the throttle is opening.
Okay.
So
See, then it's worked. It's telling you got a communication problem though. Well, see, it should
seems to
still,
do that. Yeah.
it should run in limp mode even like that. I mean, when you have a communication, like when my pedal, like I had a wire come out of my pedal when I first put it together and the car would sit there and idle, but you give it gas and it wouldn't respond.
Well, let's find out. Got power to the fuel pump. I'm going to put this in data stream mode.
All right.
Now, what I was telling these guys, Sam, is when I'm triggering it, I'm seeing RPM on my scan tool.
Well, that's good.
That means I should have crank position sensor, correct?
Yeah, unless it's going away when it starts. You know what I mean? That
It
would be
is
the only
not.
thing.
Well,
Okay.
it's not starting, but
Yeah, when it lights off, it may go away at a higher RPM, but
you guys ready for this? Here we go.
yeah, now you're getting there now.
Let me test the pedal.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Okay. Watching little pole barn garage over on the laptop. Just got done with part 1 and part 2 of the live start. So just to give it away, let's just show you. She runs. So I just got home this morning from a 24-hour shift working as a paramedic. So I've only got about 45 hours of wrench time before I have to leave for No Name Nationals. There's more than that many hours until the event, but because of my work schedule and because of having to have everything ready and loaded on the trailer and go, there's definitely going to be some pit thrashing once I get there, but we've got 45 hours basically to get this vehicle buttoned up enough to get it running, driving, and on the trailer. I would love to drive it there. Don't have it tagged and insured, and obviously it's completely untested. So yeah, I'm gonna go switch hats and get to work. Okay, so got my hat changed. We got 45 hours from right now wrenching before this car has to be on the trailer and headed to Sikeston, Missouri. I've been at work for 24 hours, so the last time you guys saw me with the car, we got it started live, and that was pretty dang exciting. But again, thank you for everybody for helping. I don't know, let's see if we can wake everybody up. There's the ignition power. Get a little fuel pump action going on. That should be everything. were able to prove that I could leave for 24 hours, come back, and by replicating, turning the key, it fired up. So at this point, it's time to finalize all my wiring, get all the soldering done, wrap it back up. It was so pretty earlier, and you know, anyway, we're gonna rewrap it, tuck it all in, get everything where it needs to be, get our battery in the back, and then basically throw on these last few things that I've got just enough time for, and then we're off to No Name Nationals. If I miss some filming here and there, we'll talk about it later, but for now, let's just get it done. Okay, so as much as I don't worry about brakes, in this case, I know we don't have brakes. I've got brand new discs and calipers on the front, and we've got the rear end out of the Trans Am in the back, which is drums. I got a brand new power booster and master cylinder, but none of the lines are ran. The old lines were rusty and kinked and just full of junk, and I don't want to try to rely on that when we have a fresh brand new system up front. So the goal is to get the new lines ran, and then hopefully we can get them bled off when my wife is home from work, and that'll finish that up. All right, here we made our new end on our brake fitting. So we'll get that mocked up into this new rubber hose that goes right here to the caliper. And then we have to run that down around the cross member to the other side, where it's going to meet up with a junction for the other front disc brake. And then it goes up and into the master cylinder. All right, I did not bench bleed the master cylinder, which you guys would know because you watched the video. So we're gonna just fill it up with some fresh. And since I'm all on my own, you guys are gonna watch it for me while I pump the brakes. I think we got that well enough. Now let's hook up our new lines that go to our brakes, and then we'll bleed the brakes, and that part's done. I know you guys have seen people make brake lines before on YouTube, so I won't go into a lot of detail. Got my double flare tool. I put my nut on the correct way before I flared it. So let's get it flared and on this master cylinder. Okay guys, I'm out hidden hunting hole trying to find a last minute part. My drive shaft length fits, but the yoke for the drive shaft does not slide into the TH350 the way it should. It's a bit beefier yoke on the front, so it doesn't allow that to happen. So I'm on the lookout for the gentleman who owns the joint, and maybe we can find the proper yoke. I just love all the old stuff intermingled with the new. I know people like to be purists and everything's got to be numbers matching in the right color, but you know, there's something about taking something modern, putting it under something old, and taking two otherwise scrap vehicles and making one that you can actually run and drive and go get groceries and everything else. So for all the haters out there, at least we're trying to put cars back on the road, even if it's not exactly the way you want it done. On rental service, I need to rent a drive shaft. Ooh, jackpot. All right, let's see if we can find one that matches. So I'm hot, all sweaty and dirty, but I think we have a front yoke drive shaft solution. Found it in a hidden honey hole. This guy has pretty much everything from lawnmowers to cars, trucks, tractors, everything from really, really old to, you know, fairly new. So if you guys are looking for something specific, you want to find your next project, you want to do what I did and pull a car out of the woods and flip it in 90 days, let me know and I'll get you in touch with this guy. Taking a little break. There's the custom cross member I built with the TH350 trans mount that I made and welded in. Look at me getting metal hot. That burns. Oh, hey. Drop that. And this. Go. Profession. Okay. So I'm leaving for Sykeston in 12 hours. Still no trunk or fuel cell in the back. Shocks are on. Got to put the wheels back on. Brakes are in, but need bled. This wonderful mess still hasn't been dealt with. Engine's in. Front accessories are in. Couldn't get the radiator hoses that I need to fit. Look for the flexi ones, didn't have those either. So I'll figure it out. This is the Suburban's electric fans. Plenty of clearance, however, no way to bracket that into the car. So the radiator's really in there. Thanks to Longbine Auto Plaza, Chevy, Oldsmobile, Pontiac Buick from Emporia, Kansas, which is about an hour that way. That is not going anywhere. I got my coolant overflow. Had to notch this just a little bit. There's my overflow tank. It's in there. I need to wire up my fans, get my charge tube in there, finish my wiring, and you know, everything else. All right, charge tube's installed. Still got to get a radiator hose in here somehow. Run it to over here. But we'll figure that out. I think I'm going to clean up the wiring and route that into the cab so that I have my COM port in there as well as being able to use the key. And then, yeah. Well, I slept for an hour, got the car on the trailer. It'll be good enough to get me to Sykeston, and then we'll figure out what it takes to get it running by then. Got my BTP hoodie on. It's nice and chilly out. I'll see you in Sykeston.